Well, one of the famous faces we saw in that film was the much-tattooed former Spice Girl, Melanie C, who's currently pursuing a solo music career. Now, in public, she's always been the sunny, sporty, girl-next-door type. But in private, she's had to wrestle with depression and an eating disorder. Anita talked to her this week about pop, blues and soul.
Melanie, a very warm welcome to you. It's been months since we've seen you, let's be honest, and it's very, very good to see you back. I just wonder how good does it feel to be back?
You know, it feels great, and I think a big part of that is that I'm so happy with what I'm coming back with. You know, I've got a new album, that's out next week, and I've spent a long time, you know, getting everything right and it coming together, and now it's just a really exciting time to present it to the world. So I'm feeling quite optimistic about everything.
You were just a baby, pretty much, when the Spice Girls stuff happened. And just talk me through some of the pressures that you had to deal with at the time.
I think I was quite vulnerable. I think we all were, and we all dealt with things, you know, in our own ways. And it's pretty tough to pick up newspapers every day and be reading things about you, whether they be, you know, very critical about you personally, about your appearance, about your work, and also reading lots of lies. And I'm quite proud of myself from coming through the other side, really.
That image became so important, such a pressure, that you did develop a rather serious eating disorder at the time.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's fair to say throughout my time with the Spice Girls, you know, I started developing an eating disorder and an obsessive, you know, behavioural pattern, really. I was becoming obsessed with exercise and with food. I really wasn't eating properly. And my weight, you know, got lower and lower. And I think a lot of it for me was also the control. So much of my life and the control in my life had been taken away from me, that I had exercise and I had food and nobody else could control that for me. You know, I could do that. I think that was a big part of it. And I remember when I first went along to get help, you know, I caught myself mid-binge and I just thought, I can't cope with this anymore, I can't deal with it. And the next day I went along to my GP, and that's when he said to me, well, first of all, we need to address your depression. And I was like, my what? I was like, you're depressed, you're very obviously depressed. And I was like, oh, there's a name for it, you know, as well, the way I'm feeling. So that was the big relief to me, and that was really when all of my, of the healing began.
Depression's one of those very, very cruel illnesses in that it's invisible. I just wonder how all of your friends, your family, your support networks, if you like, actually, you know, how did they deal with you when they heard this name that you'd suddenly got?
Yeah, I think it was quite frustrating because people don't know what to do. They don't know what to say, you know, and really, you know, if anybody is in that situation, just being there is enough. Just listening and, you know, and being quite affectionate. I think these are all the things that you need, but it is difficult, and there's a huge stigma attached as well. You know, it's a mental illness, and people are terrified to admit things like that. You know, it looks like some kind of weakness. But, you know, really, there's great help out there, and for me, antidepressants were a big help. But alongside that, you know, I had lots of counselling and I tried lots of alternative therapies. And one that I still swear by today, and it's got me through so many different, you know, areas of problems in my life, is acupuncture. It's been brilliant, you know, it's helped me with physical problems, you know, with emotional problems, so I'd say to anybody, give it a try.
Do you have to have faith? I mean, it's acupuncture in particular, part of Eastern philosophy. Do you have to have understanding and faith in that kind of Eastern philosophy for it to work?
You know, I think you just need to have an open mind, as with anything, and you know what, even if it is a psychosomatic reaction, then who cares, you know, if it helps you get better, yeah. But I truly believe it's miraculous. I really do. And I believe everything, you know, even if I've got a little bit of a, you know, I'm feeling a bit cynical about something, I like to believe. I like to believe in everything. So I try everything with an open mind, and lots of things have helped.
Earlier on in the programme, we saw a film about the spiritual significance of tattoos, and I can't help but notice that you have a fair few of your own. So should we go on a tattoo tour and just talk me through them?
I was quite interested in body art. It was something that I had fancied for a while, and my first was my Celtic armband, and this historically is an allegiance to your tribe, so I kind of like that. This is Tibetan, and this says love and happiness.
Right.
I've got a dragon on my leg.
Oh goodness me, that's very
my
impressive.
colourful one. And it's a yang dragon, and it's male energy. And on my shoulders I have a phoenix, which is yin energy, and that's female energy, so hopefully to keep me balanced.
Wow.
Oh, and something on my back.
Which
Quite
do you want to
spiritual, my
show?
tattoos,
Yes,
actually.
you are, aren't you?
I don't really
It's sort of like the Church of Melanie, isn't it?
Yes, I'll show you the back. I'll just put
Yeah.
my pants a little bit further
Thank
down.
you very much.
You can see that. Oh, my mic's there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I've got that. Now, the lotus flower symbolises the earth, and this little sound up here is Tibetan, and that's for grounding.
Wow.
That's to keep my feet on the ground. And then I always wanted a cross, and for me it signifies protection, and also it's my lucky tattoo, this one. And the Celtic just comes from my past really, which is in my name is Scottish. I have Scottish family and Irish as well, so I've got some Celtic blood in there.
Yeah, and from Liverpool, where of course there's a huge amount of Catholicism, a huge amount of Catholic belief. How much of that formed your childhood? Was that part of
Well,
it?
my dad is actually Catholic, and I was actually christened Church of England. My mother's family are all Church of England, and you know, religion for me, I find it fascinating. But I think I've grown up in a generation. I think a lot of people feel as I do, and it's quite hard to have a specific religion. I think because we've seen so much pain and destruction caused by religion, but I really respect faith, and I think that's my belief. I believe in faith, whatever that may be. As long as it's peaceful and tolerant, then I believe in it.
You use very interesting language. I mean, you've talked about the soul, you've talked about faith, you've talked about strength. You haven't once mentioned God, and I just wonder why that is.
I think I'm a bit confused about the whole issue, and you know, our existence is so mind-boggling. Somebody or something has to be responsible for it, but I'm not sure what it is, you know?
It's a very significant weekend this weekend, as you know. I mean, we've got a funeral and a wedding that has happened, very close proximity. And let's talk about the sad one first. What were your feelings when you heard that the Pope had died?
He was an incredible man, and I think, you know, for me, the respect that I have for the Pope was really his quest for peace. And where we see so much violence with religion, I think he was a real inspiration to every religion around the globe.
The other ceremony, which was delayed, but Prince Charles, Camilla Parker Bowles, finally tying the knot, a love affair that's stretched over years and years. And I know you've been travelling the world lately with this new album. It must be the one thing people ask you, what do you think about this wedding?
Absolutely. People are rather obsessed over in Europe about it, as it seems we are in this country. And, you know, I know that people have different views about royalty and everything, but, you know, I've met Prince Charles, and I think he's a good man, and I find the press incredible. The amount of disrespect that they show him, the royal family, politicians, everybody, I just find it incredible. But, you know, as for the wedding, you know, it's great to see somebody happy, and it really is nobody else's business, and I think we should leave them alone.
You're very well known as being a proper Liverpool lass. Yeah, last few days something very momentous happened. It was the anniversary, the 20th anniversary of the Highsall Stadium disaster. And we saw a very, very moving ceremony where, well, the Liverpool football fans saying, "We are sorry, forgive us," and then, you know, the visiting fans saying, "We forgive you." And forgiveness, I don't know how this figures in your life, because a lot of people have been mean to you, haven't they? How much do you forgive them? How much do you need to forgive them?
Well, I always like to think and believe in karma. Treat people as you wish to be treated. You know, anything negative that you put out into the world is going to come right back at you. I think for my own peace of mind, it's important to live by those rules, really. You know, I like to believe I always have good intentions. Even if universally justice isn't done to me, then I can rest easy knowing that, you know, I've done good deeds.
Yeah, but the forgiveness thing you haven't answered. People have been mean to you.
Yeah, I do. I forgive. I completely forgive.
Because I sense anger even in your new album.
Do you? Well, I think it's really important to express that, because it's emotion that everybody feels. You know, we have such a huge range of emotions, and there were things that I've covered on this album that have probably been buried down there for a while, but I've never had the courage to really bring up and deal with.